It's Ultimate Combat Radio with your host, Mike Stidham, on 1280 and 97.5 The Zone. Presented by Aztec Highway.
Take it. Welcome to Ultimate Combat Radio, Utah's only mixed martial arts radio show. I'm Mike Stidham. It is Friday, the 5th of August, 2011. We're broadcasting live from the 97.5 FM and 1280 AM studios, The Zone. Joining me on the program this evening, back from his Hawaiian vacation, he's back. The Kiser. The Kiser's back. Brandon, how the heck are you, buddy?
Oh, man, I couldn't be better. Just got back from Hawaii, and we're right back into the radio show, and I'm happy to be here.
All you guys in the last month have gone to Hawaii, but me.
It's your turn.
Yeah, it's my turn.
I didn't get to go.
I had my month-long vacation a couple months back, so I'm good for a little bit. Now, you just heard the lovely MMA babe, and she is in tow with Joe Martinez, the Great White. And how you guys doing, man?
Awesome. How you doing, Mike?
I am doing well above average. And now, of course, our special guest this evening is Kensei Sato of Mushin Self-Defense. Now, Kensei is one of the sport's great guys. And he's coming off a very exciting victory last weekend at the SteelFist Fight event. First of all, congratulations, Kensei, on a big win.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. We're going to be speaking with Kensei a little bit more in a little bit here later in the program about his big win and a few other things. But I want to invite you, Kensei. You're sitting next to a microphone over there. Feel free to chime in on anything we've got going on tonight.
Okay.
And don't be rude about it. If you don't know Kensei, that was a pretty funny joke because he's the most polite kid you're ever going to meet. Now, Robertina, let's say hypothetically, somebody aside from Kensei wants to join us on the program, and they want to say maybe call us. How would they go about doing that?
There, you can call it 405 or 670-1280, or you're welcome to text in at 53318. You have to text in zone and then whatever you have to say, or get on Facebook at facebook.com/Ultimate Combat Radio.
All right, coming up on the program, UFC veteran and UFC 133 contestant Dennis Hallman. We'll be talking about his upcoming fight tomorrow night. We got the Colbert Report. It'll be featuring the final resolution regarding the administrative hearing for Ultimate Combat's promoter's license. And then local and national MMA news, of course, with the Great White Joe Martinez. And we've got some swag from the Final Destiny movie we're going to give away if you want to. Destination, yeah, what did I say, Destiny?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
That's that one stripper anyway. I got sidetracked for a minute. But, there's no right or wrong answer to any of the questions we got. Just call and say something super smart, and we'll give you some maybe some passes, maybe some other really cool stuff. Now, Krehl, I see you grabbing the microphone very rudely away from Kensei Sato because I know you've got an agenda. You want to talk about
didn't you say we're going to? Well, Aztec Highway is our main sponsor, obviously, and want to welcome everybody to go down to either your location at the gym or go see them on West Temple and 33rd South, where they've got a huge assortment of MMA clothing for the fan or for the fighter themselves. And you know more than anybody about how good their gear is.
Yes, I do, because Joe punched people with that gear yesterday in training. Now, this segment is brought to you by Ultimate Combat Training Center and Mushin Self-Defense. And who better to talk about Mushin Self-Defense than Kensei Sato?
Take it away, Kensei.
and Brandon Kiser. First of all, Kensei, get on up next to the microphone there and tell us how cool it is to train at such a great gym.
It's a really great gym. We kind of don't like the spazzes coming in our gym.
What's a spaz, Kensei?
Spaz, people that won't chill out even when you say, can you chill out? Can you? Can you go at my speed? Can you go at my intensity? I'm not. I don't want to go hard today.
So is it a gym full of wimps then?
Well, no. We can handle. We can handle ourselves. We just one of us is going to get hurt, and it's usually
going to be you. It's going to be the other guy, right?
Well. If they're like beginners and they want to prove something,
then
and we're not about that.
Well, good, and that's what I think we're driving at is that it's a very learning. You're looking at it's a very good learning environment. So we're not going in there. We don't have a bunch of attitudes. We have people that want to come in and train and learn and get better. So I think that's what I've noticed when I've gone up to the gym over there.
No, well, thanks, Mike. That has definitely been our mission in a world full of not those things.
Yeah. Well, I do want to get onto our poll question. What do you think of Herb Dean's controversial stoppage last week in the Fedor versus Hendo fight? I personally, and I'm cheering for Hendo. I was a Henderson fan, but I thought they stepped in too soon. I thought, with the magnitude of that fight and with the profile of a great fighter like Fedor Emelianenko, You can't stop it like you did. You have to let it go at least 2 or 3 more punches. And I don't think that the outcome would have been any different had he not. But you're supposed to be one of the best refs in the business. I don't think you showed it that night.
See, and I disagree with you on that one. So
well, that's not uncommon.
Yeah,
Phil,
exactly.
We do have a phone call, and I'm going to listen to Ryan. What do you have to say about that, Ryan?
I believe that the Herb Steen stoppage was a good one because I believe that the fight would have been worse had he not stepped in. I think it was an act of bravery because when Federer was down and unconscious, that other guy started punching his lights out. I mean, the only thing worse than beating a dead horse was betting on one. So you know what? He had to, stop the fight. He had to say, all right, stop.
I agree that it was a courageous move on Herb Dean's because you knew he was going to come under fire for it. But at the same time, you look at if you watch the slow-mo, Fedor responded. He was back in business. His eyes were open, and he wasn't completely knocked out. He did flop when he took that uppercut, but he turned and he was fighting back. And really, when you watch MMA fights at that level, if this was a couple of scrubs, then absolutely great stoppage. But these are the 2 top fighters in the world, and you're going to stop it like that? I guess he agrees with me. Well, Krehl, I want to hear your opinion then.
Well, see, and I disagree with you because I think Fedor was actually out when he took that uppercut. And when I originally saw it, it happened so fast. At first I thought, wow, that was quick. But when I finally saw it in the replay, the uppercut devastated him. It knocked him out cold. Now, he did recover quickly. I'll give you that. But he was out.
If you can't recover quickly from being out. What I'm saying is, again, he's never been knocked out before. You have to take that into account. If he was a guy like Chuck Liddell who's been knocked out several times, then maybe you look at, all right, let's stop this thing. But he's Fedor, and he's never
true enough. At least safety of the fighter.
At least let it go to where the fans don't question it, and we don't have this conversation.
Debate. Right, exactly. All right, so that's the poll question of the evening, and I want to have you feel free to call in.
What do you think Kensei thinks? What did you think?
Well, I totally agree with Mike Stidham.
And
go. Not only that, Fedor did take, I think, 3 hard shots in the back of the head, and he was still churning around to.
And that's, look, man, if you're going to call the rules by the rules, he got punched in the back of the head 3 times, which is illegal.
Is it possible to be knocked out and then another punch wake you right back up and you be right?
In the cartoons, yeah.
No, I mean like
I think
what do they call it?
That the Wile E. Coyote had that effect. Do we have another call?
Chris,
what's up, buddy?
Watching that fight and watching the slow-mos, when Fedor gets hit with that uppercut, he goes face down, hands go limp, and that's the split second that Herb Dean's got to make a decision if I'm going to call that fight or not. And then he sees the first punch actually is the side of the head that turns Fedor's head and a couple more blows, and he's already decided to stop the fight.
I think that's the mistake, though. It's not a split-second decision. If you're a referee that's that seasoned, you can slow things down in your mind. Everything's not got to be split second. You can take that extra second to look. And Herb Dean could have positioned himself, got in a little closer, and if he really had to jump in there, I think he could have done that. And that's just kind of a referee thing. He might have been caught a little bit out of position when he saw that happen, and he jumped in there and had to overcommit and stop the fight. That's my opinion.
And I can see that, but then that's a Steve Mazzagatti moment where he lets Fedor get his face punched in, and everyone's going, why didn't he stop it?
Well, I don't think we would ever let it go that far if he was just getting his face punched in. But you know what? Hey, very intelligent conversation here, which we don't get around here very often. So stay on the line. Will's going to get your information, and we're going to have him come out to the gym to pick up his prize package. So thanks for your call.
No problem.
All right, so now let's talk about the after effect, man. There was an after effect. Fedor got cut by Strikeforce.
He did, along with a lot of other people.
The best fighter in the world just got cut by somebody. And what... I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that decision, and I'm certainly. Obviously it tells me writing on the wall that Strikeforce is not going to be around as an organization.
Oh no, yeah, because his contract was up, and they didn't even consider get him in the UFC or anything. And I don't know if Dana White's just trying to make a point or. It was a pretty fast decision though.
He's always had an axe to grind with Fedor, and not so much him as his management people. And he's always said he's not the best heavyweight in the world when clearly at one point he was.
Yeah.
That's certainly debatable now, but he's certainly among them, and it's certainly somebody you'd like to have on your roster. One would think, but it is what it is. Let's talk about another thing. Hendo's contract is up. Now, does he deserve a unification fight against John Jones? My opinion is yes.
I would love to watch that fight.
That, to me, is such a big fight, that's in my opinion what the UFC should use for their end of the year. I think it'd be awesome.
That one awesome. I do agree with you on. I think it'd be a fabulous fight.
Take it back, Krehl.
No, I'm not going to. Put it down. Mark it. The 5th of August.
That's the most intriguing matchup I've heard in months.
Oh, it's awesome.
And Dana White has said that if they can come to an agreement that they will get him back in the UFC.
Here's the problem. You know that Henderson's going to be trying to negotiate for big dollars because he's done it before. That's how he wound up in Strikeforce. He asked for more than UFC was willing to offer. And Dana's he's held the position. You're 40 years old, man, or however old you are. You're not you're not the future of the sport, and so we're not going to give you future of the sport money. But for a fight like that changes everything.
Especially if he comes out and beats somebody like that. Beats the future of the sport.
Well, that is certainly that would change it, but I think his performance last weekend changes everything for him, and it puts him certainly in the conversation of, and he should, I think, absolutely he leapfrogs Rashad and whoever else is in the running if he comes in. How do you feel about that, Brandon?
No, I completely agree. I think he's got the best shot at the title, and he's the man. I would love to see that.
All right, really quickly here, we got to recap what happened last week at SteelFist because it was a pretty good show. Strangely, we say it was a pretty good show, and then you look at it on paper, and only 2 of the fights made it out of the first round. But those 2 fights were pretty dang good, and one of them we got the big superstar stud from that fight, Kensei Sato here. But the first fight of the evening featured Wade Martinson and Curtis Johnson. It was a rubber match. It was a fight that a lot of people kind of thought Wade Martinson had because the last time they fought, he really put it to Curtis Johnson. He came back. Well, Curtis Johnson came back. And what did he do, Brandon?
Well, he did the omoplata that we'd been working. And, we had Kyle Herrera, who just also had fought Wade and beat him using the rubber guard. And so we just kind of took that same game plan and gave it to Curtis and had those 2 roll a lot together, and it paid off.
It very much paid off. And, Curtis was ears to ear smiling afterward. He was very happy and nothing but complimentary about his preparation that he had gotten at Mushi. And so it was very cool. And then Tyson Green and Chris Romero, I didn't think this was a good match before the fight, and it turned out to not be a very good match. Tyson Green, he's a good kid, but he's just not that great of a fighter, and Chris Romero made it look pretty easy. And then the next fight, the fight of the evening, in fact, on this very show, I predicted it to be the fight of the night, and it turned out very much to be. Did it not, Krehl?
Oh, you called that one right on the nail. That was by far the best fight of the night.
I hate to pat myself on the back, but I'm going to do it.
I didn't think you could reach around that far anymore.
I'm too fat, but it's actually my arms are just too short. But Kensei, I'm such a big fan of his, and I was a little concerned that maybe my fandom was getting in the way of my. No, it wasn't. Kensei's that good. He really impressed me. It was a 3-rounder. Kensei, can you kind of give us a little play-by-play what happened in the fight? Kind of break it down for us?
Sure. If I can remember everything, but I told him before the fight I don't like to touch gloves because I've seen people get sucker punched and people get taken down as soon as they try to touch the gloves. And he was really cool about it.
So as a gentleman, you wanted to lay that out before, hey, I'm not being disrespectful, I'm just not going to touch your gloves.
Yes.
Okay.
And it all kind of goes blur from there.
You know what? That's all we needed to know, man. We didn't touch gloves, and then I punched him in his face.
I got to tell you, Mike,
he punched me.
I was in the back with the fighters, and I came out to watch Kensei's fight along with every other person that was outside.
It was pretty cool.
Everybody wanted to watch Kensei.
The energy in the room was a lot of fun. It was very cool.
Kensei is he has a big fan base among people that know him because he's such a nice guy, and he's that guy that's the first one to the gym every day, the last one to leave. He's still mopping the mats, even being the most senior guy at our club, and it's so easy to get behind a guy like that.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right, we're going to have to rush through this here. Cody Forbes beat up on Tyson Humphries. Cody Forbes has been around a long time. He's a kid. I didn't think this was a great matchup either. I think Tyson Humphries got a great upside. He's going to be a good fighter one of these days, but they were biting off a little more than they could chew there, I think, Cody Forbes. And Cody Forbes showed that. Josh Vanderveer made a quick work out of Eli Bice with a guillotine in 28 seconds. And then another one of the Mushin guys held strong with a very 38-second knockout. Sterling Natsuma over Uriel Gonzalez from Wyoming. Got to be proud of just the story around that. We had Sterling on the show, and it's a great story.
Yeah, I was thrilled when I got that text in Hawaii.
Yeah, good stuff. And then Pat Reeves went down to Dan Perry in a very shocking 9-second knockout. So that was a big shock. And then Jerome Hatch, Cole Rose, man, Cole was surgical in the first round. He looked so good and came out in the second round, got KO'd, and just didn't work out for him. So that's a wrap on the SteelFist fights. We look forward to they're going to have another show in September. We're going to talk to Kensei about that because he's going to be on that show. We're going to be talking to UFC 133 contestant Dennis Hallman when we come back.